from Venadia. And Ben Venadia now moves after also getting a win by technical foul against Buffalo. He'll move to 5-2 on the year as we go to our heavyweight match. And both teams still with an opportunity to win it, but it is the Boilermakers with the advantage here as we see Stoddard take on Filipovich at 285.
Now, fans, I'm going to give you just a quick snippet here as we take a quick shot here. Going to give you 1 second. If Army wins this match by 8 or less, so it's 19-19, just so we're aware at home, it's going to be the team whose opposing wrestlers won the greater number of matches. So right now, that's going to be split down the middle, 5-5 if Army wins here. The next tiebreaker goes to the team with the greater number of technical falls. The lone technical fall of this match was at 125 for Matt Ramos. So something that, like we said earlier, Vinny, that happened all the way at the start of the match, now having repercussions here as we reach the end of this very heavyweight bout of two teams, again, right under the top 25.
We talked about how last year Lucas Stoddard did get a win for Army at 285 by a score of 6-0. That at the time was over Tristan Ruhlman. Stoddard right now has opened up a quick 3-point advantage over Filipovich as Hayden Filipovich, the redshirt junior out of Indianapolis, Indiana, also in a spot to clinch this win if he can get back into the points here and scramble for things. So, I mean, it is amazing how wide open this match is because we talked about how even this was going to be going into the competition here today. And I think this has really been a treat for fans of college wrestling.
Absolutely.
These two programs are in an absolute battle right now.
And again, Stoddard got that early takedown, so now he gets to control here. If you're Filipovich, though, you don't want this to go to tiebreaker. Whether you have the lead or not, you want to walk away here with a just clean-cut points victory. So assuming he flips and makes it 3, a 22-16 win, nearly similar to last year's result here. As there he is. He's going for a turn. He's got the arm under the shoulder. He's trying to reach around his leg. If you can get a turn, Vinny, you go for something called a Turk, where you simply roll back with him, and you'll feel his entire body shift with you, but you flip him onto his shoulders. His legs are going to be airborne. If he can pull this off, he's getting close. He got a little close right there. He needs to get those legs up and airborne.
He's able to flip Filipovich around, and then he counters, and an escape is had by Filipovich to cut into that lead. They now battle right at the end of the boundary. A little bit of hand fighting to be had here with 30 seconds left to go in period number 1. Still analyzing. Very low approach here by Filipovich. He goes high, still wants the legs, and now Stoddard's going to try to hold him off here. They still assess each other in the waning moments of period number 1. Still grappling. And the clock will slowly wind down here. Little bit of action here as it winds down. Still both looking for the torso here. They'll go towards the mat and not down to it before the buzzer sounds. And now 3 minutes of the 7 possible here at 285. Still now 4 to go to decide tonight's match, and it will be the Burton, Ohio native, the sophomore for the Black Knights, starting in the down position, was a qualifier last year to the NCAA tournament at 285 after a 6th place finish at the EIWA championships.
Nice escape there for Stoddard. He built up a quick base. He's able to get a quick leave now. He's got a 4-1 lead. If you're Filipovich, you have to start being aggressive, going for shots. Stoddard, though, doing a great job of standing him up. You saw Filipovich go down. Stoddard immediately got under his arms, pushed him right back up to where he wanted him. He's keeping him upright. You do not want to let Filipovich get low on you. He's keeping him up.
Filipovich last year had an 11-10 record wrestling at both 184 and 285 for the Boilermakers. He was 11-7 at 184, and a compromising position when you're switching between both of those weight classes. That can be very difficult. They go back to the middle of the floor here, still 4-1 with Stoddard in front. And both of these players representing their respective schools at each conference championships, Army with the EIWA and Purdue with the Big Ten. On one of the biggest stages in college wrestling, both these players have some time. Another warning hat here, and then right off the floor they go. And they'll go right back in as sliding towards the chairs there for a moment was Stoddard, and they'll go back to a neutral position. Under a minute to go here in period number 2.
And Vinny, it just goes to mention, by the way, Stoddard before today had not wrestled yet this season. So while he has an NCAA qualification from last year, a 6th place at the IWAs, he's making his season debut today at today's tri-meet with UB and Army as well, and Purdue. So now he's standing him up again, and he takes him out, and that's what we're talking about, where you need to be careful of that tarp, and that's why they try to nix that as fast as they can. With these bigger guys, it's going to be easier to let momentum just swing you out of bounds, as we're seeing right there. But that's where referees need to be careful, and sometimes you've seen it, it's rare. They just stop it right away from even getting that far if they know they're just going to be carrying them out.
I mean, this is a big mat. It's 42 by 42, and there's a 9-meter diameter for the circle that you're actually wrestling in, and that 5-foot protection area really does not afford you a lot of room. I mean, you're looking at that mat and that protection running out very quickly as you get towards the perimeter there.
As someone who has wrestled on mats like this before, you have legitimately 2 or 3 steps, as we see right there.
Another one.
You have 2 or 3 steps to work with before it's. This feels like hardwood under my feet.
It is.
You have to stop yourself, get upright, and get back to the center of the mat.
So Stoddard right now has a 6-1 advantage as we take a look at this most recent collision. As you can see them going down, they land on the mat, which is good, and then you see them sort of tumble over onto the hardwood there. So for period number 3, which could ultimately be the deciding period of today's duel, we start with Stoddard and Filipovich wrestling candidly. And as you see there, a 3-point advantage for Purdue could be erased if Stoddard holds on to the lead. But Filipovich able to get a reversal there, and an all-important one at that. He draws back within 3. Now 1:45 left to go in regulation of the final match between the Boilermakers and the Black Knights. Filipovich, meanwhile, also counting down that riding time point as another warning is issued.
Now here's the issue. Filipovich has not been aggressive when we've been neutral today. You've seen that. Filipovich is going to try to get the points here on Stoddard on a turn or just a straight-up pin for this match. He knows that right now Stoddard has the advantage upright, so he's going to try to keep him down and get him on his shoulders, whether that be for 2 seconds, whether that be to just wrap up the match. He needs to keep him down as long as he can based on what he's been able to do today.
Right now, Filipovich cannot get the riding time advantage, but he can take it away from Stoddard, which he now has done as it drops below a minute. Let's see if Stoddard is able to get free, and he does. Now back to a 4-point advantage for Stoddard. He's got 55 seconds of riding time right now. So if he gets back into a position of control, he might be able to earn that bonus point. However, only 7-3 right now. And of course, in order for Stoddard to get 4 points, he's going to have to win by 8 or more. Let's see how aggressive the cadet is. Filipovich goes for the legs. Stoddard has him around the torso. Under 30 seconds to go, period number 3. And then a stalemate called, and now it'll be 21 seconds. And let's see how each of these teams approach this. Filipovich knows that his opportunity is on offense, and he goes right for the legs. He's unable to hold the clasp, and Stoddard tries to fight him off. They get back neutral. Still hand fighting. Under 10 seconds to go. Right back at the legs again goes Filipovich. Stoddard fights him off once more. Under 5 seconds. One last stab at it by Filipovich. He earns a point to get to 7-4, and no riding time bonus for Stoddard. So a 3-point victory for Stoddard will put a decision on the board, and not these two teams at 19 points apiece after 10 bouts of wrestling. What a match that was.
What a match, and it came down to the wire. It looked like Army had it all but wrapped up at some point after 157. Instead, Purdue rallies back, wins 3 of the last 4 matches to tie this match up at 19. We're going to go to a tiebreaker now again. We broke it down earlier. We get the official word here in a second.
As these teams shake hands in the middle of the floor, we will see our officials, who have already given a couple of shout-outs here today, Kendall Chrysler and Don Christensen. They go over to the official scorers table, and eventually we'll decide where the points shake out. Both of them with quite a bit of collegiate wrestling officiating experience. Chrysler A native of Las Vegas has 5 years, and Christensen, a Salt Lake City native, has 10. Both of them had spent significant amounts of time with the Pac-12, and now with the Pac-12 conference looking a little bit different than it has in years past. A little bit more opportunity for them to officiate with the Mid-American Conference, and that's where they find themselves here today. And they, as well as us, were treated to an absolute treat.
Army 19, Purdue 19. The win goes to Army based on second criteria for most 6-point victories.
So the criteria officially announced here in Alumni Arena, most 6-point victories was the ultimate tiebreaker. Max, you talked about that a little bit.
And I want to apologize for the folks at home very briefly. I said 5 points. I meant 6. That is on me. I want to apologize for that. I will take that one. I point out the Ramos fight. Look past the 6. It does go to 6-point victories. Army picked that up at 149 with Trey McDaniel, number 28. So again, folks, apologies on my end. Misread, look past the number there. But Army ekes out a victory now. But if you're the Black Knights, you're not done yet, Vinny. It's rest, recharge for 30 minutes to an hour, and you're right back on the mat.
Well, Max, I'll forgive you because I have to. We've got more wrestling coming up from Alumni Arena next on ESPN+.